Hello.
Yeah, that's your name.
Squirrels got me.
Big Jim.
Yeah.
Really cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
That's good that you think of it because that's what deer hunting typically is cold and fun.
Yesterday morning, I'm glassing up on the pass, and I see these deer moving. And I'm like, ooh, there's some deer moving. All of a sudden, I just see this person just head down, just hauling ass, wearing shorts and a T-shirt with a pack on. And I'm like, is that Tard? My dad always talks about floating through the woods like the autumn breeze.
So Robert's
when you're
the
275 pounds, I don't know how you do that, but
the Freightliner. It's just like a creeper. You're just kind of up in the corner watching what's going on down there.
Yeah.
You know.
He's like,
he's up there slapping it, pissing all over everything.
Is it warm yet?
How did you know the name of the actor?
That's I know.
How did you say his name?
Hervé Villechaize.
You know what pert near means.
If you know what pert near means and you live in America, you're a redneck too.
Welcome to the Log Talk Podcast, brought to you by Pert Near Outdoors. What's going on, everybody? Billy here, and I'm kind of bringing to you an impromptu podcast with Tony Wilkinson from the New York State DEC. I totally botched the beginning of this episode, so I apologize. We kind of end up jumping in about a minute and a half into the discussion. I was all flustered because I had the cords screwed up, and I couldn't hear them, and they couldn't hear me on the over the Zoom meeting. So long story short, I forgot to hit the record button. I looked over after about a minute and a half and saw that there was nothing recording. So I will just kind of give the little bit of a leeway or the lead in to what we were talking about, and then let the podcast roll here for you. But so like I said, I've got Tony Wilkinson. He's the director of Fish and Wildlife from the New York State DEC. So Monday the Monday the 13th, an announcement came out that the DEC was going to be offering their hunter safety or their hunter education program, their HEP as they call it. They were going to be offering that online for the first time ever through a website called huntered.com. And so that was, I actually created a video a week and a half ago about how you could take your online course through Idaho and with that online or huntered.com. And that got spread all over the place, and there was a lot of people talking about the same sort of stuff, not just me, but that video got seen on a lot of different Facebook channels and things of that nature. And then lo and behold, Monday, they sent the email out, Kelly Stang did from the DEC, saying that they were going to be offering this course online through huntered.com. So I was really excited about that when I saw it, because it was instead of going through another state and kind of having that rigmarole, being able to do it right here through New York was a great opportunity for everybody here in state to do that, instead of having to jump through some of those hoops and use other states' programs in order to get access to hunt here come May 1st for turkeys, or even for youth season before that. So anywho, I reached out to Kelly, and I got a response back yesterday, the 16th, that Tony would be willing to jump on and have a discussion with us to talk about the program and some of the reception of it so far, and answer a couple questions that I had about it. So just a quick conversation here for you. Tony sounds like a great guy. I did a little research on him before the podcast. He's got a really interesting background. He's been our director of the Fish and Wildlife for the DEC. He's been that since December of 2016. He was appointed into that position. His background, he's from PA, is where he grew up, and he went off to college at Michigan State and then got his master's from Michigan Tech. And he has been in conservation his entire career, so over 35 years in conservation, anywhere from a wildlife biologist to a zoologist to a researcher. So pretty interesting guy. I kind of was trying to be mindful of his time with everything that's going on right now, so we kind of kept the conversation relatively short. But I look forward to trying to link back up with Tony and see if we can get some stories out of him from some of the things he's done in his career, both professionally and in the outdoors. Sounds like a pretty interesting guy when it comes to that sort of stuff. So I will say all that. let's see, what else do I want to say? The website for you to use is going to be hunter-ed.com/New York. There is a $19.95 charge, I believe. That is actually not to the state of New York. That is to the company that is behind the program, behind the website, and that puts all this educational material together. Understanding that there is a cost incurred in them putting this material together and employing people for their customer support team and things like that. So I have seen and heard some negative feedback about having to pay for it, as when you just take the in-person one here in New York, you don't have to pay for it. But I will tell you right now that when you hear the numbers that Tony's going to drop on us of how many people in this thing went live on the 15th. So for how many people have taken this course or signed up for the course in the first 48 hours, the numbers are just staggering. So people are hungry for this, which is a really exciting sign. I think he said in the conversation that his instructors, he's got 2,500 instructors statewide, and they touch somewhere around 40 to 45,000 students a year. When you hear the number of people that signed up for this course just in the last 2 days, it's a staggering number, and I couldn't believe it when I heard it. But it is super, super exciting to hear, and I hope that maybe this is going to help get more people outside and get more people into the outdoors, and maybe break down that barrier that may have been the time that it took to get that course completed. So hope you enjoy the podcast. One of the things that Tony did ask was for any feedback on the program, so feel free to if you have any feedback, let me know. I don't have a need to take it, so I probably won't take it. But if you want to, if you know somebody has taken it, or if there's any feedback that you could share, feel free to send us a message on Instagram or Facebook, or just send us an email, pertneroutdoors@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to pass that along to Tony and his team to take that into consideration. So I will leave that there. Thank you, everybody. Hope you're staying healthy. Wash your hands and go outside. Fade them.
The youth and first-time hunters that were looking to get started here in New York. And I don't know if you know, Bill, but there are over 20 states in the country that have been using one form of online course or another. And it worked out for us. The vendor that we've been using to help do registration and post homework and things like that for Hunter Ed Calcami, they were already set up and working with a couple of other states to do this. So probably just about 3 weeks ago, Kelly Stang, our director of the Hunter Ed program here within the state, she reached out and started talking to them. It became apparent that they could probably adapt the courses that they had pretty readily and very much mimic what we have in the day-long on-site course that we typically offer. So about 2 weeks ago, well, it would have been about a week ago Monday on the beginning of April, I reached out to a couple of folks across the country, a couple of other directors in fish and wildlife agencies, just to get their take on this and how it was working and if they had any guidance or wisdom that they could offer. And I got a quick response from 3 or 4. A couple of them had been doing this previously. One of them had just added this as an option because
the
they, like us...
recording has started.
Oh.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
okay.
I goofed up when we first started talking. I was all flustered because I had my cords all crossed, and I didn't catch the first minute and a half of our conversation, but we're okay. You can keep going. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. I think I was saying that I talked to a couple of states that had already been doing the online course, but there was one new state, and I forget which one it was, had mentioned that they, like us, didn't have an option and were anxious to have this option provided for potential new hunters and anglers or new hunters in the state. So we put a short proposal together that we got to our leadership, and within a day they got back and they not only approved it, were very supportive of this. That was about a week ago on Wednesday, and by Thursday or a week ago today, Friday, Kelly had been working with Calcami, and they had it pretty well set up to run some tests over the weekend. And then, as you know, on Monday, Kelly sent out a note to the instructors across the state letting them know that this option was available. And then I think by Monday afternoon, I started getting calls from a number of outdoor writers and outlets about this. And by Tuesday, which was the soft opening, I think we had over 3,000 folks registered the very first day. And by Wednesday, which was to be the true opening, I think we had over 12,000. And as of this morning, we've had over 16,000 individuals register to take the online course, and I think nearly 3,000 have already completed it.
16,000 have already signed up?
Yes. we were amazed at that. We expected that there might be some pent-up demand for this, and obviously there's a lot of people sitting at home looking for things to do. There's probably some parents who would have been taking their kids to a course this spring, and we expected, the fact that there had been 3,000 registrants, maybe there'd be a few more than that, but when we started getting the numbers in, and now up to 16,000, and that was as of this morning, we were just astounded, but very happy about that also.
That's unbelievable, and I don't know, that number shocked me because I know I saw somewhere that there was like 3,000 in the first, like you mentioned, in the first day or day and a half there was 3,000, but it doesn't surprise me. Word spreads super fast, and like you said, a lot of folks are at home right now and have the time, and it's a great opportunity to jump in there. So from your guys' end, looking at that, that's got to be an encouraging thing to see, is the participation of people getting in there and taking advantage of the course to get that.
Absolutely. I mean, it tells me a couple of things. Number one, word got around to the right people. People clearly took advantage of it. Calcami has been a great partner with us. And as far as I know, there haven't been a whole lot of hiccups this week. So it's been excellent. And, it's just in time because, a week from tomorrow is the first day of the 2-day youth turkey hunt. And then the following Friday, May 1st, is the official opener here in New York. So we know that there's always some youngsters that are anxious to get out for their first hunt. They've just turned 12 sometime in the immediate past here, and they really needed this course so they could get their certificate and then go out and buy a license and then hopefully get to go out with a mentor.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, with that volume of people that are taking this course right now, what do you, one of the answers that I've kind of been looking for, but I haven't gotten it, as far as is where you can purchase a license right now, because I know that that's a challenge with a lot of the, the major stores, the outdoor stores, and that people were using being closed. Are you aware of some outlets where people can still go and buy their license?
Yes, one of the main retail outlets that folks may normally go to, and they may or may not be aware of, but there's a number of Walmarts across the state that are open because they have food services, and we know that they're still selling. Anecdotally, I'm aware that there are a number of hardware stores that normally would sell, and they are selling at this point in time. It's very interesting that sales through retail are down, but sales overall are ticked up just a little bit at this point in the year. And the other thing is our online sales for license has gone through the roof this year, and that's what we've been trying to do. We've been trying to get information in people's hands, to go to the website, to get online and do it that way. And I think the number's been astounding there that all of the folks that have gone there and been able to avail themselves of that. And that's always been there, but I think this is just another way that these circumstances have given us an opportunity to learn and try some new things, even, for hunters trying to purchase their license maybe for the first time.
Sure. So I guess that's an interesting point, because especially being a resident New Yorker, you don't often think about going and buying your license online. But so what you're saying is you can actually buy your hunting license online, and I would assume it gets mailed to you. Is that how it works? Or
that is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. Now, just to warn everyone, it does take a period of time to get the license back. So you do want to allow yourself enough time if you're planning to go out and go turkey hunting. So that's just, again, I think maybe another reason why people jumped on this so quickly. And obviously, if you're able to go to a retailer, you'll be able to get your license right then.
Yeah. I guess, for the sake of this podcast, and I'm going to post this probably pretty quickly just to get the information out there, but I would say your best bet is not to rely on the mailing of your license for you. If you can go to a Walmart or a local hardware store or somewhere locally that does sell hunting licenses, I would definitely recommend that. But it's interesting.
The quickest way.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me because I've hunted out of state and I've always purchased my licenses online from them, and you just never think about that when you're an in-state resident. You just never think of that being an option. So that's good for the future for people to know. Let's see what else. So what's some of the feedback? This is probably, it's a pretty big change for you guys to make in such a quick period of time. And you talked about the turnaround essentially being, a week and a half getting this program up and running. You look at forums, or you look at some people that are talking. There's some, maybe some negative opinion about doing an online course and taking away that in-person factor. Are you hearing a little bit of that, or what's your your response, your take on that piece?
So what I've heard to date is this, and again, this was not a totally new novel concept. We knew it was out there. We've been thinking about what can we do to increase the opportunity, especially for youngsters nowadays who really like to do things online. The first thing was our staff were excited to have this opportunity. I was excited to be able to take this to our leadership and say, hey, we may have a solution here short term, so folks can get out and enjoy the out of doors, maybe get out from being cooped up and go after a turkey this spring. So the staff were overall pretty darn excited. Most of the instructors that I've heard from were excited and happy that there was going to be an option. We have, I think, over 2,500 Hunter Ed instructors across the state, and they normally reach about 44,000 students in a year, something like that. So in any group that size, there's going to be a few that, for whatever reason, may not be too happy. And certainly I understand the concerns. There are some people that feel very, very strongly that, the field component is an important part of this. And while I say that, it's always better to be face-to-face and have that experience and have that hands-on experience, one of the neat things about this course is there's a virtual virtual piece to this, which runs through everything that would be taught in the course. And so I think that's good. There are videos, just like we show videos in a normal course. And one of the things that, in my mind, that has been maybe another good thing about this, with 2,500 instructors across the state, they all do a good job, but they all do a little bit of a different job. And, I'm just going to take it for what it's worth right now, that this is an opportunity that everybody is getting the exact same course at the exact same time. As far as the field component also, right now we're not going to be able to offer anything, but we've thought about if this were to continue into the future that we might offer a volunteer field day where anybody that took the course and didn't have the opportunity might be able to come out and spend some time with our instructors to get that firsthand experience.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and you're never going to be able to replace that hands-on in person. I think that's one of the best parts about any of these courses is, the book work and the studying could be done, but it's the, going out and handling a firearm. There's something to be said for doing that with your hands on it. But I think also in this day and age that we're in, I tip my hat to New York State to making this decision as quickly as you did and acting as quickly as you did, to look at the opportunity to get, 15, 16 plus thousand people out in the, get them the opportunity to get out. And, the one thing I will say, and it's one of the big things that we talk about on this podcast, is that hunters and outdoors people are very, very giving in their time and want to help people, want to see people be successful overall as a group. So although you may not have a field day, chances are if Mike down the street or little Johnny gets his license, somebody's going to be more than happy to go out with them to show them how to do it. Sometimes the biggest hurdle is just getting that course done so you can get out there and do it. So, I saw a comment on one of the many Facebook pages that I kind of watch, and somebody had, negative feedback about the loss of the field day, essentially. But the person that came back, one of their comments back was, you aren't going to learn all that in one day that's going to make you, the best hunter that you can within a 4 to 6 hour hands-on field day. You're going to learn every single time you go out, and it's that's how you have to approach this. And I think it's just a different look at it, that you got to look at the positives, and there's always going to be some negatives of this stuff, but I think the positives at this time far outweigh the negatives. In a time where there's an awful lot of negative out there, those numbers that you threw out just in the first few days that's a hell of a positive.
Yeah, and I can speak for myself. A long time ago, I'm from Pennsylvania originally, and I took the course when I was 12, but I was following my dad around and anxious as heck to get out with him, from probably the time I was 8 or 9, and he was teaching me all that time. And whether it's right when you get your license or you get your certificate, whether it's a parent, whether it's your neighbor, or whether it's a mentor, one of the things I'm excited about is maybe this will help flip a switch across New York for some of our instructors to think, well, maybe now I could spend more time with little Johnny down the street. He's going to need somebody to help him and to get out there. So I think that's a good opportunity that may be coming our way. I think the other thing that we've talked a little bit about here is the fact that we focused on this period right now in the spring when we're shut down. And, we don't know exactly when we're going to be coming back, but, even if we were to say we come back, sometime in the summer, we're going to have a lot of demand that may or may not be able to be met immediately upon return as we head into the late summer and early fall. So I'm glad that we've had this opportunity to do this, and we think there may be some youngsters and first-timers that might typically wait till August or September, and maybe there's some of the 16,000 that have already signed up to do the course this spring.
Absolutely. That's a great point, because I didn't even think about that angle of it. I mean, if you didn't have this, you'd have that logjam of people looking to get their licenses for, arguably a much bigger time of year for outdoorsmen and chasing deer, and you might not be able to get all those people through the system. So it's a pretty sweet benefit there for sure.
And there's always a push, as you may know, come the fall, before some of the small game seasons, but especially, as you mentioned, before whitetail season, there's always a clamoring for folks to get the classes. And no single class is that large or can be that large, and they fill up really quickly, and some people lose out on that opportunity. So I do hope that folks, especially folks that might hear this, if they're interested, take the opportunity now and go sit down and take this course.
Yep, for sure. And one of the things I want to tap on quick here, because I'm just looking at all the different things that fall underneath your purview, and one of the things is license sales. And I think a great thing for people to be aware of is the lifetime license program that New York State has, and especially lifetime licenses that can be bought for your child or for a person under a certain age and get an extreme discount. So I don't know if you want to hit on that real quick, because you might have a lot of youth hunters that are jumping into this program right now, or people that might listen to this who have kids, or people they know that could take advantage of that lifetime program, which is a great thing to get into.
It is a great opportunity if there's a household and a family that knows if they have youngsters now or plan to, that they can early on, and I've heard of people doing it at the earliest ages, buy a lifetime license. And of course, you still have to go through the course, and you still have to learn everything at the appropriate age. But yes, that's a very popular program. It's one that, as I said, that, sometimes I think it's before sometimes kids are even born that their parents, have either written the check or about to write the check to do that. It also, I think, knowing that that's there also instills the opportunity Like I mentioned for myself, I mean, from the time I was probably 3 or 4, I was out of doors with my dad, and obviously there was no such program like that when I was growing up, but I'm sure if there was, he would have taken advantage of that. So, you know, there's that. We've mentioned that this is being offered by Calcomine. The other thing I should mention is we are in the process of getting a new online electronic license system, a new decal system, and that is also being done by Calcomine. They were the selected vendor earlier this year, or late last year actually, and they've been working hard toward hopefully helping us get a new license system for fishing and hunting license and trapping either later this year or very beginning of next year, and we're very excited about that. This played together very nicely in that they were also the vendor that had been helping us with the registration and everything needed to set up even the in-person courses. So all the way around, a good feeling from my standpoint.
Yeah, that sounds like a great partner that can help you all the way up and down the food chain. You know, for them to be able to be part of each one of those programs, that's a good deal. And I just, while you were chatting, I brought up the lifetime license pricing, and I know myself and my friends, we've got a little thing going between us that when somebody has a child, we all chip in and buy them a lifetime when they're born, and so it's $380 that you can buy a hunting and fishing lifetime license. I think it's just a base sportsman license. You can buy that $380, and you split that up. Even if you didn't split that up, you know, in the course of a lifetime, you're going to spend 3, 4, 5, 10 times that if you're an individual buying a license each year. So definitely something to think about, and you know, you just go on to DEC's website and you can see all that information there. So that
and
is
it sounds
that.
You're a little bit like me and hunt more than one state, and you can spend that much in one given year pretty easily.
Oh God, yeah, you can do that just applying for points.
Yep.
I guess one of the last questions, I want to be mindful of your time here. So one of the last questions I've got for you, and it might be a little bit early to discuss this, but as far as I had a friend reach out to me and was wondering if this course was also offered for archery. Do you think that this is something down the road that you could see if you guys continue to have an online offering, that archery could be part of that as well?
So the first thing I should say is, as of right now, this is being offered through June 30th. Depending on what happens in the world around us, you know, we'll take a long, hard look at that and see if we need to extend that. We certainly have been talking about archery and some of the other things that could be offered online like this. You know, we're not prepared at this time to say what would happen in the future, but I would say this: if we are able to have or do have an online option moving forward, that would definitely be in the mix. You know, I think if we'd have had more time, maybe we'd have gone there this spring, but we're just thrilled that we were able to do the basic, you know, Hunter Ed this spring.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. I just was asking for a friend. It was definitely a question, and it was one that I didn't know, and I don't really have a whole lot of knowledge on whether you can get one from another state and have it be, you know, reciprocated here in New York either, but definitely something to look into, and I'm glad to have people interested in asking these questions and wanting to take advantage of the time that they have right now to get out there and get those certifications so they can go out and chase game with weapon of their choice. So it's good stuff.
And, you know, the other thing I would say as this goes around and as other people take this, you know, one of the messages I would say is I would love to get the feedback of what everybody thinks about this, how usable it was. You know, again, I think this is an unusual time, but people have time, so if folks have feedback, if they have any insight in things that we could do to improve it, or if they have thoughts about what we should do in the future, I'd love to hear about that.
I think we all. I'm a voice for many, but I appreciate that offer, and we'll certainly you know, send you some emails and keep in touch with you, and you know, you and your team there, and you know, I would love to get you on maybe another time. We plan a little bit better. And you sound like a pretty interesting guy. I did some research on you as far as your background and what you've done in your career. So I would love to hear some of your stories and some of the things that you've done. I'm sure you've seen and done a lot, and as well in your professional career as well as in your outdoor career. So if you're interested in that, sometime we might be able to get back together and have a little bit longer form chat.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to do that. And I'm just curious, Bill, where do you reside?
I live out in Wyoming County in a little town
Okay.
called Strikersville. That's
Yep.
where I live. So just outside of Buffalo, Western New York. I grew up in the Finger Lakes area, just south of Rochester. So we started this podcast and really focusing on getting people in the outdoors, sharing our experiences, trying to encourage everyone to to live this lifestyle and enjoy what we have around us. And there's definitely incredible opportunities around New York State with all the parks and wildlife and public land and everything we have there. And so it's definitely it's been fun, and it's been fun connecting with people and sharing the message about what everyone's doing around New York State. So
Yeah, and I'll just add on a personal note, I think we're about 5 weeks into this, and part of what's gotten me through is the fact that in just another 2 weeks from today, spring turkey season starts.
I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel for that, at least.
I do.
It's good stuff. Well, I'll let.
Anything else?
No, I think I'm good. I wanted to kind of keep this short and sweet and kind of just get the information out there. But Tony, we'll certainly I'll stay in touch with you. I'll make sure I'll send you an email with my information and my phone number. And I just want to thank you, Lori, and I know Kelly's not on, but she helped relay this message. So thank you both for getting this put together for us. Yeah,
and Kelly and her team did an outstanding job, as did Calcami, in getting this, set up and turned around. It's just amazing. A week or so ago when we were first proposing this and thinking about it, I thought, man, it's going to be really tight. And I was hoping that they could turn it around maybe in 2 weeks, and then it came back that within a few days they'd have it, at least a model of it, a template of how it could work, and then less than a week later it was online. So that's great. Laurie, you still there?
I am, yeah. I didn't realize the numbers either. I was just kind of taking notes for my own reference through this. But yeah, that's pretty impressive numbers. 16,000 have registered already. I didn't realize that. So I'm pleased with the success too that these guys have put this together so quickly.
Yeah, I think in our way of thinking here, if we'd have got 4,000 or 5,000, we'd have been ecstatic. And when the numbers started climbing, just incredible. I mean, 16,145 as of first thing this morning, and then 2,945 individuals had earned their certificate.
It's fantastic.
Wow, that's great.
Yep. All right, Bill.
Well, Bill, thanks for getting the word out on this too. I think this is a great way to help promote it too. And if you do want to do something or have anything in the future, you have my contact information. We can certainly set up other things with the program.
100%. And I don't know if my reach is going to be 16,000 people. When you said that number, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's fantastic. But maybe we'll add maybe 15 people more or 20 people. I don't know, but we'll see.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit.
Getting the word out and getting people to understand what this is all about, and especially at a time like this. I mean, I think it's great. So,
absolutely.
All right, you guys have a great weekend.
Thank you.
All right.
Stay healthy.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Take care.
Shoot that big one.
Bye. Sure.
See ya.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.